Could Chris Jericho really be walking through those doors tonight on Monday Night Raw? Is WWE about to pull off one of the biggest surprise returns in recent history, right? As the Netflix era celebrates a major milestone? And why are backstage whispers getting louder about a shocking WWE departure that nobody saw coming? Because let me tell you right now, this feels like one of those nights where wrestling history doesn't just move forward, it swerves. Hard. Happy New Year, everyone. We made it. 2026 is officially here. And somehow, someway, we all survived 2025. Whether you celebrated, slept through it, or just scrolled wrestling Twitter like the rest of us, welcome back. It's Monday morning, we're back in the studio, coffee in hand, voices barely working, and yes, it's Monday Night Raw tonight. And not just any Raw either. This is the 1-year anniversary of Raw on Netflix, which already makes tonight feel important before anything even happens. And when wrestling feels important, strange things tend to follow. Because here's the thing. WWE does not casually tease words. They don't accidentally say things like break the walls down unless they want people to start connecting dots. And that's exactly what's happened over the past 24 hours. Adam Pearce, on social media, running down tonight's Raw card, drops that exact phrase. Who can break the walls down and claim the gold? Now come on. Nobody talks like that. Nobody casually uses that phrase unless they want you thinking about one man. The Ayatollah of Rock in Rolla. Y2J. Chris Jericho. And immediately, wrestling Twitter explodes. Group chats light up. Fans start asking the same question over and over again. Is Jericho actually coming back tonight on Raw? Or is WWE just messing with us to boost ticket sales and viewership for a big Netflix anniversary show? Because according to reports, particularly from Figure 4 Weekly and other wrestling media outlets, WWE is absolutely pushing hard for walk-up ticket sales tonight. The building is already doing solid numbers, but this is a milestone show. Netflix Raw turning 1 year old is not something WWE wants to quietly pass by. They want a moment. They want a clip. They want something that trends. And if there's one thing Chris Jericho has always been, it's a moment maker. Now, let's talk reality for a second. Jericho's AEW contract reportedly expired on January 1st. Multiple reports last week suggested his time in AEW was coming to an end quietly, without a big farewell angle. And when that happens in wrestling, history tells us something else usually follows. Especially when the company on the other side is WWE. Especially when Royal Rumble season is right around the corner. And that's where the debate really starts, doesn't it? Because part of me thinks, if Jericho is returning, why would you do it on a random Raw when you could save it for the Royal Rumble? You get the countdown. You get the surprise pop. You get the social media explosion. Jericho loves a countdown. He lives for that stuff. He practically feeds on it. But then the other side of the argument is this. Tonight is special. Netflix Raw anniversary. WWE loves symmetry, loves milestones, loves moments that feel planned and historic. And maybe this isn't about surprise. Maybe this is about impact. Because let's be honest, is Jericho returning really a surprise anymore? Fans have been anticipating this for months. So if it happens tonight, what does he even do? That's the question we kept asking ourselves backstage earlier. Is this a one-off? Is this the start of a final run? Is this a retirement tour? Because there have been quiet rumors floating around that Jericho's WWE return wouldn't be about championships or long-term dominance, but about closure, about a Hall of Fame path, about one last run to tie everything together. And I'm just going to say it. Gunther versus Chris Jericho. I want to see it. I don't know how long it goes. I don't know if it's pretty, but I want to see Gunther chop Jericho's chest into dust. If Gunther is being positioned as the final boss for Legends, the guy who retires people in brutal fashion, Jericho fits that story perfectly. It would be hard-hitting, uncomfortable, and weirdly poetic. Of course, you could also argue Jericho inserts himself straight into the main title picture. But honestly, that scene feels stacked right now. It feels crowded. And Jericho has never needed a belt to be relevant. He just needs a microphone and a reason. So if it's not tonight, and it's not Raw, then yeah, Royal Rumble feels inevitable. But either way, the fact that we're even having this conversation tells you WWE wants you thinking about it. And in wrestling, thinking often leads to believing. And believing leads to tuning in. Now, moving on, because while WWE speculation is running wild, something very real and very emotional happened over in New Japan Pro Wrestling this past weekend. Hiroshi Tanahashi wrestled his final match at Wrestle Kingdom. The ace, the heart and soul of modern New Japan. And while the retirement ceremony was packed with legends and familiar faces, one notable name was missing. Shinsuke Nakamura. Speaking to Tokyo Sports, Nakamura addressed his absence, saying he did everything he could, but it just didn't happen. He mentioned other missions, other obligations, and described it as dramatic in its own way, which is such a Nakamura thing to say, by the way. It felt cryptic, it felt emotional, and it felt unresolved, because for so many fans, Tanahashi versus Nakamura felt like the storybook ending. Tag partners, rivals, history makers. The idea that Nakamura could have closed Tanahashi's career felt perfect. And while it didn't happen, Tanahashi still found a way to pay tribute, hitting a Kinshasa during the match and mimicking Nakamura's mannerisms. It was subtle, it was respectful, and honestly, it was beautiful. And that's wrestling at its best, isn't it? Even when things don't line up perfectly, the emotion still finds a way through. Wrestle Kingdom, by most accounts, was an absolute banger of a show. If you haven't watched that match yet, do yourself a favor. All right, what's next? Let's talk about someone who very much did show up back in WWE, because Matt Cardona is officially back. Full-time, Blue Brand, SmackDown. And as exciting as that is for WWE fans, it came with consequences for the independent wrestling world. Cardona vacated the AW World title and canceled indie appearances after signing with WWE, announcing the decision via video on the night of the event. And by the looks of it, that might not be the only gold he's letting go of. He's currently holding multiple indie championships, and when WWE comes calling, history tells us those belts usually don't stay around for long. This led to an interesting response from Vince Russo, now working as a writer and producer for JCW, who basically said, belts are props. Putting a title on someone like Cardona, even for a day, is worth the risk because of the publicity. And honestly, as wild as Russo can be, there's some truth there. Name value matters. Attention matters. And whoever beats or replaces Cardona now inherits that spotlight. Do I agree with everything Russo said? Absolutely not. But do I understand the logic? Yeah, a little bit. Wrestling has always been about exposure. And Cardona's indie run will be talked about for years. And finally, we get to the story that genuinely caught a lot of people off guard.